After coaching hundreds of clients and training for nearly a decade now, I noticed there's usually one big thing that newer lifters tend to get wrong, and long term, it leads to them being led astray, not seeing results, and ultimately just falling off their fitness goals, never achieving their dream physique. So, I'm here to help you avoid that. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about what your first month of working out should look like so you can have an action plan and start your journey on the right foot. I'm gonna be working out in between, so let's get into it. One big thing that newer lifters always tend to get wrong in their first month of training is their workout routine. Whether it be simply freehanding a workout and just seeing what there is available in the gym, or Googling chest workout, back workout, what am I gonna do today? Arm workout, which is admittedly a decent place to start, but it will likely have you do a bunch of junk volume. You see, if you're just simply freehanding your workout routine, it's gonna be very hard for you to know if you're getting a sufficient amount of volume, frequency, that sort of thing. Let's be honest, we all know that one person that just goes to the gym and thinks, all right, what am I gonna do today? While I commend that go with the flow kind of attitude, you're likely better off following a structured workout routine that you know is optimized for you. Now, in general, for a volume recommendation, you want to aim to have anywhere between 8 to 20 sets per muscle group per week, excluding warm-up sets. So we're only counting the working sets where you're actually training hard. Now, ideally, you want to spread those 8 to 20 sets across 2 different workout days, ideally with 48 hours of rest in between. Now, that might seem pretty simple, like, okay, don't do bicep curls 2 days in a row. However, you also have to understand that certain muscle groups may be involved in other exercises where you're focusing on a different muscle group. For example, for the biceps, outside the bicep curls, the biceps are also going to be involved in a row or pull down, which are back exercises. Which is exactly why in your first month, the number one thing you should be focusing on is following a structured workout plan. And this is how you get one. Okay, so first step is figuring out the number of days you can reasonably commit to going to the gym per week. I recommend at least 2 times per week so you can hit the double frequency requirement, but ultimately choose the amount of days you think is reasonable. Don't think that 6 days is gonna be better for 2 days, because if you don't follow 6 days, then it doesn't matter in the end of the day. Now, I recommend planning around 60 to 90 minutes per workout session, excluding any sort of cardio. So we're purely talking about weight training here. Now next, let's talk about what workout split you should do. Now, depending on the number of days that you can commit to, I recommend either an upper body split or a full body split. Now, I made many videos on why I think this is the case. You can check out this video I made explaining what is the best workout split depending on the number of days that you're going to the gym. And assuming that you watched that video I just mentioned, I ultimately recommend 3 to 4 days in the gym per week if you want to maximize hypertrophy, especially as a beginner. Now, if you're like, Tyler, no, I'm all in this workout grind, then yeah, you can go 5 to 6 days, but don't think that's gonna be any better than 3 to 4 days. But if you do decide that you wanna go 5 to 6 days per week, it generally means that your workouts can be a little bit shorter and closer to that 60-minute mark, perhaps even a little bit shorter than that, going all the way down to 45 minutes. Now, ultimately, if you're thinking to yourself, all right, Tyler, this is all good and all, but honestly, I just want to take the guesswork out of creating a workout routine, then in that case, I recommend you apply to my exclusive one-on-one fitness coaching program where I pretty much do just that. But not only that, I also give you recommendations on what you can potentially incorporate in your diet to get to your goals. You can message me and ask any questions you want. There's weekly check-ins. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out these other transformations that these fine gentlemen have made. Consider applying the link in the description to fast track your knowledge. All right, so you have the number of days you want to go to the gym. You have the workout split. Now, let's talk about the exercises you should be including in those individual workout days. Now, the very first thing you want to do is compartmentalize every single exercise based off of just one muscle group. Meaning, if you take an exercise, even a compound lift like a bench press, even though technically the chest, triceps, as well as the front delts are all involved in the bench press, I consider the bench press a chest exercise. I'm compartmentalizing it into the chest exercise bucket. Now, I know you might be wondering, okay, well, what are all the muscle groups I should be compartmentalizing for? Well, let me give you the full exhaustive list. We have the chest, lats, traps/mid-back, forearms, triceps, biceps, abs, front delt, side delt, rear delt, quads, glutes, hamstrings, and calves. Pretty much all the muscle groups you should think about. Maybe you can also include obliques if you really want to train the core, but for most individuals, you can probably lump abs/obliques all in one. And let's say you want to especially focus on certain muscle groups, then you can further compartmentalize it into different, let's say, heads. So if you're focusing on chest, you can separate between upper chest, mid chest, lower chest, that sort of thing. Let's say you're focusing on glutes, you can separate out the glute maximus from the glute medius. And for quads, you can also separate out, let's say, the rectus femoris, since it's biarticular, unlike the other muscles. So you definitely can get more specific with this, but for the sake of simplicity, let's just keep it at those muscle groups I mentioned. So I think that should be very helpful, but if you want examples of good workouts, definitely check out my best upper body workout for beginners, as well as my best lower body workout for beginners videos. Now, another factor that's important outside just exercise choice is exercise order. In general, a good rule of thumb is to start with your compound lifts, then trickle down to your isolation lifts. Using chest as an example, if you're deciding between a dumbbell bench press and a cable fly, you should probably do the dumbbell bench press first before you go into the cable chest fly. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a hard and fast set in stone rule. There may be circumstances where you want to start with an isolation exercise before jumping to the compound exercise, but think of it as a good rule of thumb, especially if you're starting out. The next thing to talk about within one workout is volume. I recommend at most 6 sets per muscle group in that one workout. I think workout volume is probably the most misunderstood thing, because you hearing 6 sets, you're like, wait, that's like 2 exercises for that muscle, that's it? Is that really enough? The answer is yes, it actually is, especially if you're training hard enough. See, the thing is, a lot of people think you need a dedicated bicep day where you're doing like 5 different bicep curls, when in reality, like by the time you get through your second bicep exercise, everything afterwards is pretty much junk volume at that point. Ultimately, it does depend on your effort levels, but at the end of the day, if you're training hard, you're taking sets very close to failure, you probably don't need all that much volume in one day. So ultimately, I recommend keep it at 2 exercises per muscle group at most in one workout. Trust me, you're gonna feel much more fresh. It's gonna be easier for you to apply progressive overload long term. Whew. All right, so let's take it even more granular and talk about each workout set. So in general, I think a good rep range, you can keep it simple, stay within 6 to 12. That's honestly a really good hard and fast rule. That's really all you need to know about rep ranges, but more importantly, I think let's focus on effort level. In your first month of training, I highly recommend you take your time to learn the form for every single exercise. Imagine there's gonna be like at least 30 different exercises you're gonna be doing, probably more, that you're gonna have to ultimately learn. You can't expect yourself to be sufficient in all 30 right off the bat. No, there's gonna be a painful learning process, especially in the beginning, so I don't recommend you actually like trying to focus on progressive overload when your form is not good yet. Instead, take your time, perfect the form, aim to have a 2-second eccentric on every single exercise you do, and you're gonna be in good shape for those many months to come. But even though you're not necessarily focusing on strength, you should naturally notice that your strength is gonna be improving as you make more neural adaptations for each exercise. Because ultimately in the beginning, all of these stimuli is gonna be pretty new for your body. Thus, your body's gonna make a lot of adaptations in that beginning phase of training, call it your first 3 months. So these strength gains will happen, but the goal here is to make sure we're not picking up bad habits and confusing the natural gains change we're supposed to be making as we just get into lifting with, oh, I'm doing things correctly and I should continue doing things the way they are without really even knowing if your form is good. Also real quick, in terms of warm-ups, the best warm-up is gonna be doing that exercise with lighter weight. Now, I highly recommend that for every single exercise you do, you have at least one warm-up set. If it's a compound exercise, maybe the first exercise in your workout, I should recommend having more, like 3, or you even have 5 warm-up sets. The thing is, I like being liberal with the amount of warm-up sets I do, but conservative with the amount of warm-up reps I do in each of those warm-up sets. Meaning, I'm cool with you doing 3 full warm-up sets before you even jump into your working set where you might only be doing like 2 sets, but in those warm-up sets, the goal here is to make sure you're not training anywhere near failure, meaning cap it at around 5 reps at most. And as you scale up in weight, you actually should be decreasing the amount of reps you do. Like my last warm-up set, I might only be doing like 1 or 2 reps.
Goku pinned down. And look where Goku is standing.
It's a ring fragment with nothing else beneath it.
All right, so now you have an action plan for your first month, but wait, what if you miss a workout? Well, the good thing is if you're going less than 5 days per week, then it doesn't really matter. You can just make up the workout on a later day. It's not a big deal. But if you're going 6 days, then you can just keep moving along. Like you don't have to make up the workout and reschedule everything. It's not really that big of a deal. And this is why ultimately it's important to choose an amount of days that you personally feel like you can stick to even when you're busy. Like even when you're, taking the MCAT, taking finals, going through busy season, whatever it might be, you want to choose a workout routine where you can still stick to it even when your life is super busy. And the good thing is if you're doing upper lower split, you're not gonna run into any recovery issues if you push your workout along 1 or 2 days later in your workout schedule. That was exactly what your first month of working out should look like. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys find this helpful. Good luck on your first month of training. Don't forget to hit the like button if you want to support my page. It's the easiest way to do so and it's completely free. Hit subscribe if you want to level up your physique. Hit the bell notification, get these videos right to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.